Battles and violent events. Political events. The Anglophone Crisis, also known as the Ambazonia War, or the Cameroonian Civil War, is a conflict in the southern Cameroons region of Cameroon, part of the long-standing Anglophone problem. Following the suppression of 2016-17 Cameroonian protests, Ambazonian separatists in the Anglophone territories of Northwest Region and Southwest Region launched a guerrilla campaign against Cameroonian security forces, and later unilaterally proclaimed the restoration of independence. By the end of November 2017, the government of Cameroon declared war on the separatists and sent its army into the Anglophone regions. Starting as a low-scale insurgency, the conflict spread to most parts of the Anglophone regions within a year. By the summer of 2019, the government controlled the major cities and parts of the countryside, while the Ambazonian nationalists held parts of the countryside and regularly appeared in the major cities. A year later, clearly defined front lines had emerged, sometimes with a tacit mutual understanding between the belligerents on who controls which areas. While Cameroon would raid separatist-controlled towns and villages, it would not seek to outright recapture them, focusing instead on securing the major urban areas. The war has killed approximately 3,000 people and forced more than 500,000 people to flee their homes. Although 2019 saw the first known instance of dialogue between Cameroon and the separatists, as well as a state-organized national dialogue and the granting of a special status to the Anglophone regions, the war continued to intensify in late 2019. The 2020 Cameroonian parliamentary election brought further escalation, as the separatists became more assertive while Cameroon deployed additional forces. While the COVID-19 pandemic saw one armed group declare a unilateral ceasefire to combat the spread of the virus, other groups and the Cameroonian government ignored calls to follow suit and kept on fighting. In January 2021, separatists moved to prevent the postponed 2020 African Nations Championship from being held in Limbe, as they considered it a violation of Ambazonian sovereignty. Limited attempts have been made at negotiating. Talks mediated by Switzerland in 2019 ultimately failed, and internal divisions among the separatists since the 2019 Ambazonian leadership crisis has complicated the situation. The same year, separatist leaders who were extradited from Nigeria in 2018 were handed life sentences by a military tribunal. However, facing mounting international pressure for a global ceasefire, in July 2020 Cameroon began negotiating with these imprisoned leaders. The talks were held between Shishiku Julius Ayuk-Tabe and other imprisoned leaders and representatives of the Cameroonian government. The talks outlined a series of conditions for the Cameroonian government to accept that Ayuk-Tabe said would create an enabling environment for substantial negotiations to occur. The name, Ambazonia, is taken from Ambas Bay and Ambozas, the local name of the mouth of the Wouri River. This is where the English language was permanently established for the first time in southern Cameroons, when missionary Alfred Seker founded a settlement of freed slaves by Ambas Bay in 1858, which was later renamed Victoria. In 1884, the area became the British Ambas Bay Protectorate, with Victoria as its capital. Britain ceded the area to the German territory of Qumran in 1887. Germany had some trouble establishing control over the hinterlands of Victoria, and fought the Bafou Wars against local fiefdoms until 1907. Following World War I and the Treaty of Versailles, Qumran was divided between a French and a British League of Nations mandate. The French mandate was known as Cameroon, and comprised most of the former German territory. The British Mandate was an elongated strip of land along the border of colonial Nigeria, consisting of northern Cameroons and southern Cameroons, including the historical Ambas Bay Protectorate. This territory was organized as British Cameroons. The British administered the territories through indirect rule, allowing native authorities to administer the population according to their own traditions. In 1953, the Southern Cameroons delegation at a conference in London asked for a separate region. The British agreed, and Southern Cameroons became an autonomous region with its capital still at Bua. Elections were held in 1954 and the parliament met on 1 October 1954. With A.M.L. Endley as premier, the United Nations organized a plebiscite in the region on the 11th of February 1961 which put two alternatives to the people: union with Nigeria or union with Cameroon. The third option, independence, was opposed by the British representative to the UN Trusteeship Council, Sir Andrew Cohen, and as a result was not listed. In the plebiscite, 60% of voters in the northern Cameroons voted for union with Nigeria, while 70% of voters in the